lover of Jesus Christ, and since then.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't know, especially during these times, how
Hmm.
people can make it
Hmm.
without faith, without knowing that God has got you and that, Jesus has a plan for your life. And
Yeah.
so I believe, yeah, that's part of what I do. Part of my purpose
Hmm.
is knowing that, and I don't feel like I'm just doing this just by happenstance, but that this is what I'm called to do.
Wonderful. So, how has your faith played in your passion for communication?
Well, I mean, I believe that Jesus was one of the best communicators ever, changed the whole world through his communication.
Yeah.
And so, but no, I believe he's called us to speak up and speak out, and all throughout the word and faith, we've called to be a voice for the voiceless. And
Hmm.
he called Moses to speak, even though he said, I have a stutter, I can't do this, I don't want to go up to Pharaoh and talk about it. But he's like, no, I made your mouth. I've
Hmm.
called you to speak. I've called you to, he has called and ordained people to uh, empower and liberate others. And if we stay
Hmm.
silent and we don't speak up, then, that is actually being disobedient to the will of God for our lives. So
Yeah.
it's deeper than, just a profession or just something you do because, but I really believe it's part of purpose.
Yeah, Jesus is the voice to the voiceless. He defended the children. And I
Hmm.
remember, one lady was dragged to the public square to be stoned
Mm,
because she was
mm.
caught in the prostitution. The irony of that is that, you cannot do prostitution by yourself. But all
No.
these
So
men
where was the
dragged this
guy?
lady. Yeah, they dragged the lady to the public square to stone her. And Jesus said, the one who has no sin, stone her first. So
Hmm.
Jesus gave a voice to that lady. And also when the
Mm.
children were coming to Jesus, the disciple trying to block, they're trying to block the children because they have no right, they have no thing, to come to Jesus. And then Jesus said, let the little children come to me.
Hmm.
Yeah, Jesus said, no, they have a voice too. They have a place in me.
Yes.
Wow, that's good. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Wow. So now you are not just a communication lover, you are also communication coach. So how did you begin as a communication coach?
Well, yeah, as I stated earlier, so I have been teaching. So
Mhm,
I, got my BA was in speech communication and
mhm,
actually political science because I was going into law.
mhm,
I've definitely always been passionate about helping people about this, but then ended up going to communication. And so
mhm,
graduate school for communication, and then eventually my doctorate in communication, and been teaching courses in communication for various universities.
yeah.
And I enjoyed that. But then I began to meet people in business and media and different organizations who also felt that they were called to speak, and they may not have time to go to university or go back to school, but they wanted training for
Mhm,
themselves or their organization on
yeah.
how to better communicate and to present, their messages, trainings, different things to other people. And so then that's when I started consulting and doing coaching in like 2005. And
Mhm.
so yeah, so it's been a while, but I enjoy it.
2005, that's a long time ago.
I can't believe it. But yeah, that's when I officially started. It was in 2005 doing consulting. But yeah, it's
So,
definitely, I think it's more needed now than ever before.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, this time that, there's so much, stress in the society now. Last time my wife and I, Tiffany and I were talking and said, now, people going to work and come back sometimes
Mhm.
was only way to save their marriage, that they are not too much in each other's space. But now that they are stuck in a house with the children, everybody, this is going to be hard. This will be a great challenge. People may not know how to express how they feel, you
Yes,
know.
that is it's funny you should say that. Though I do, business and communication training, I've been getting a lot more clients lately dealing with relational communication and marriage communication and coaching within your marriage. And so, because yes, definitely right now, I think it magnifies those issues when there's nowhere to go. But it's like, yeah, it definitely will reveal those things, and I think it may be intensified during those times, right with the time we're in right now.
Yeah. So let me just ask this question. So is it okay, like, as a spouse to tell the other spouse that you are getting to my nerve, you need to get out of this house?
Well, maybe not in those exact words. It's okay to need space and alone time. I mean, I know the first thing in the morning, I need to have some quiet time. I need to, pray, meditate, like just get me together before I can talk. And that's like, I need that every morning. But it's like, you need time to just regroup. And I think, yes, it's okay to tell your spouse, don't tell them, leave. I need you to try to say it in a nicer way, like I need some me time right now, or I need to. And as mothers, and you have twins too, so that is a lot going on. A lot going on dealing with toddlers and twins and marriage and life. You do need a break sometimes, and self-care is important. You need to take care of you to be able to pour back into others. And so sometimes once you do that, and then you can get, reflect, then you can be like, okay, then you're not tripping and you're not taking it out on other people, because, you've got time to refill and pour back into yourself so that, you can then give to others. But it's hard to give to others when you're empty. And so you do need to, have those times. And shoot, you know that I'm close to your wife, and I had we had our girls trip and different things. You need to have time to fellowship outside of marriage, but obviously, of course, within your marriage too, and time to get away and to enjoy one another without the stress. And I know you all are good about that too. So, but it's it's hard during the season when we were locked in and you can't do go out like you want to, or do the things that you want to do and have those. But now we're beginning to start to be able to do those things again. So
now, I was thinking about another question, because the major part of communication for Christian is to talk to God. Now, when you are frustrated with God himself, how do you express that in prayer?
Well, you know what? You see that all throughout the Bible. You see that in Job. You see that in David. You see that where they were honest and they were like, okay, Lord, what is going on? Like, obviously, he already knows you mad. So it's not going to offend them. And Moses too. And he was like, these people like complaining and, and so he already knows you're upset or you're frustrated. And I think that is fine to be able to express the frustration, whether, it's God or person or but at the same time, you still have a level of respect and trust and faith to know that in the end, it's going to work out, for your good. But I think that it's okay to address that frustration, definitely.
Yeah, one thing also is to have a presupposition to know that God is love you already, no matter what. Even in the marriage, that the other person love you that way together. So you got to know that the motive behind everything, there's love already. So I can work in the circle of love. God loved me already. So I know his plan for me is a plan to prosper me. His plan is not to destroy me. He's working every day to make sure I walk to my purpose destination. So in this pandemic, I'm frustrated because I say, okay, why in 3 months everything collapsed? No travel, no school, no job, and people are dying. There's so much thing going on, so much confusion. where is God? Where are you, God? But like you said, throughout the Bible, many of the men and the women have cried to God. Even Hannah was crying before the Lord because she was frustrated for all these years, but that frustration, she believed God can still do something. And God honored her faith by knowing that despite the fact that she had to wait all these years without the children, God is faithful and He's going to do it. So we got to
Yes.
know that God is faithful in all it does. And so this can be translated into our human relationship as well. Like a spouse relationship, I need to know that the other person care about me. No matter what, even though they're getting my nerve right now, uh, they care about me, and we can make the best out of that. Wow. So how do you do what you do?
As far as
Yeah,
in
coaching.
coaching and working with
Yeah.
people, well, yeah, it's well, there's different things, but different people come to me regarding public speaking coaching. Like I said, there's relational coaching as
Mhm.
well. I do assessment kind of the different things that they want to work on in the relationship. But then as far as public speaking, what are the areas that they want to work on,
Yeah.
in their communication skills?
Mhm.
And even now, one of the courses that I love to teach and coaching is trainings for organizations intercultural communication, and learning how to communicate and have mutual understanding with people from around the world. We live in a global society. We need
Mhm.
to know how to communicate
Yeah.
and reach the masses, and that is not just going to be people that look like you, sound like you, talk like you, come from where you
Mhm.
come from. You need
Mhm.
to be able to communicate with
Mhm.
everyone, and
Yeah.
so and relate and find things to have that communication, uh
Mhm.
like the word communication is common, sharing or common understanding. And so if you don't understand other people and you don't understand, their perspective, it's going to be hard for you to communicate on a
Mhm.
global
Mhm.
level.
That's
And
right.
so yeah, so it's just, depending on what type of training they need, whether it's for public speaking or crafting their message or
Mhm.
developing a training, because
Mhm.
there's many problems that people need solutions to,
Mhm.
and your voice and your words could be the solution to that problem.
Yeah. Even as a preacher, uh, you know, now in a postmodern, society, we don't just go and take the Bible, just do whatever we want to do. You got to know how to present it. You got to know how to
Exactly.
communicate it. Because these young
Exactly.
people, one pastor told me that back in the day, you just tell people, I said so because the Bible says so. And people just obey. Today, if you say that, people will be looking at you because they don't know what you're talking about. So you got
Yes.
to know how to communicate the truth. Wow.
And break it down in a way that's relevant and relatable to their lives. Look at Jesus when he talked
Mhm.
about the parable of the sower. He knew
Yeah.
he was talking to agricultural people who farmed and
Mhm.
understood the process of sowing and reaping, and
Yeah.
so you got to break it down, and know who your audience is and how
Mhm.
to relate your message to that audience in a
Mhm.
way that's relevant, to their lives and to the
Mhm.
issues that they're going through.
Mm. Yeah, that's I work for a group called More Than Conquerors Inc. We do a
Hmm.
lot of work in high school,
Yeah.
and we are presenting how to self-control yourself, how to think about the future when it comes to relationship already. And we're
Hmm.
talking to this 14 years old, and sometime one told me that I don't know, get married. I said, well, I said, what? He said, well, my parents are fighting every day, so I don't think that's
Mm.
that even is something I gotta do. And so it's difficult, to know communication. Miscommunication is the source of divorces, war,
Mm. Yeah.
so much happening because people miscommunicate. Uh,
Mhm.
like somebody said that in a conflict resolution, you don't talk to be right, you talk to be
Mm.
understood.
Understood.
Yeah, to be
Exactly.
understood, and which is hard because uh, if you want to be understood, then somebody will be listening to you.
Yes.
If the person not willing to listen to you, what do you have to do?
Yeah,
What do you do?
obviously, yeah, it takes two people that are seeking to try to communicate to
Yeah.
one another, and so listening is a very crucial part of communication. And to be a good communication, you need to be a good listener. And
Yeah.
so, definitely, there's another whole training on just listening skills and being
Mm-hmm.
a better listener.
Mm-hmm.
And we have so many distractions in our world with social media and
Yeah.
regular media, and just
Mm-hmm.
so many things are competing for our attention. To really be focused in your communication and giving that person your full attention
Mm-hmm.
is is like step number one. And but then when both people are like willing to communicate, and then how you communicate to each
Mm-hmm.
other, and the things you say, like, yes, in conflict resolution, to seek
Mm-hmm.
to be understood,
Yeah.
should be a goal. But a lot of times people just want to speak to reply. I mean, they listen to reply, and so that they can
Mm-hmm.
be right, and so that they
Mm-hmm.
can win. But
Mm-hmm.
there's other strategies where you try to create a win-win
Yeah.
situation where you value the relationship more
Mm-hmm.
than you do winning.
Yeah.
And so, those are skills and techniques you can learn to, and your mind, you got to change, how you view communication and the mindset. Yeah, it's not just to be right, but what is
Mm-hmm.
the goal and overall, whether it's a business relationship, personal relationship, is it worth losing to be right,
Mm-hmm.
And so,
And I think you are a holistic coach when it comes to communication, because when I heard you, you talk about marriage relationship, you talk about business, you talk about educational. So you are holistic. So probably I'll talk about others other time. Uh, so now, when you say how to find, your voice, the question is, how did you lose the voice to begin with? You know.
well, yeah, that's true.
Mm,
That's true. I think that so there are people that they know that God
mm,
has called them to speak. They know, and some are already, in a position, whether on their job or in different situations, where they know they need to speak. They know they need to um, be a voice to others, but they don't know exactly
mm,
what their message should be or what to communicate to others. And
mm,
so there are 4 questions that, and I just recently posted this in, I think, Facebook Live and Instagram at Dr. Tonia Phanor, but 4 questions to ask yourself. Oh, and YouTube. That 4 questions to ask yourself. And I go into more detail in that last discussion from last week. But basically, I started with asking yourself, okay, what upsets you?
mm,
So definitely, we're all moved by what we see, something that we experience. Oh, and what have you experienced is the second question. But a lot of times what upsets us is a lot of times related to what we have experienced. So if we've
okay.
experienced injustice or loss, like I said, I lost my father. So definitely, or what are you compassionate about? I'm definitely compassionate towards the fatherless,
Yeah.
because I know how that feels.
Yeah.
And so, what are you compassionate about, and what do you love? And so those are 4 questions that you can start to begin to see, okay, where am I called to speak to? What problems do I feel I have solutions and
Mm-hmm.
answers to
Mm-hmm.
bring to that situation, possibly based on your own experience,
Mm-hmm.
or just, personally, or just through training, or your professional experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you feel like you can bring solutions and to those problems. And so, and it could just be on your job, or
Mm-hmm.
in life, or with people and relationships and training. So I think those are good place to start and
Mm-hmm.
begin to ask yourself those questions. And what, and if you do, what you love. I love empowering people. I love seeing people who go from being timid and afraid to speak to being confident,
Mm-hmm.
in speaking and communicating their message,
Mm-hmm.
because it's a powerful thing. And so, that's a good place to start.
Well, some people in a relationship, okay, when I'm kind of pushing a little bit into relationship area. In a relationship, some people love their spouses because they are so calm, they don't really talk, too much, they don't really fuss too much. They love it. That's what they love about a person. Don't you think when the person starts raising up, start talking too much, it's going to hurt the relationship?
No, because really, if you're not being authentic,
Yeah.
yes, it's good to, and I think there's a balance in relationship. You know, usually one person, usually, I mean, if it's two people that are very assertive, very, it's gonna be fire. You know, usually it's opposites attract. That's
Mm-hmm.
usually the case. And so usually there's one person that is probably, you know, the probably more mellow person, and one person maybe the more dramatic
Mm-hmm.
person, or
Mm-hmm.
different things. But at the same time, yes, you know, it could, I mean, that is the reason, one of the reasons, probably, quality that they liked in that person. But at
Mm-hmm.
the same time, you can still be calm and state your opinion and state your voice and have a voice in your relationship, because what will happen eventually, you know, you don't want to suppress
Mm-hmm.
those feelings and not share. You want to be able to openly share, you know, with your partner about everything,
Mm-hmm.
because then you'll start to build resentment and dissension,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't want to have bitterness, you know, in heart, when you're not fully opening up and not fully sharing what
Mm-hmm.
it is, you know, that is bothering. And if you address it when it's little issues, then it's not a big deal. But then when people wait and then it all comes up and they like throw the whole kitchen sink in, and it's just like, well, you did this and this and this, and they have all this built up, you know. And so it's definitely good to just, you know, talk every day. If something
Mm-hmm.
bothers you, address it right away. You know,
Mm-hmm.
don't wait, and, you know, try to, and speak, you know, calmly. And this is like, this is your partner, this is your friend, this is
Yeah.
not your enemy. You're on the same team, you know, that you can begin to address those issues,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can have a more effective
Mm-hmm.
relationship. So
Wow.
it's, yeah.
Well, you know, one of the questions teenagers ask, especially when I go to high school, is how long before you know that you and the person have really connection that you can actually move on to the next step, which is to get married. So when we're talking about communication, it seems like it takes a lifetime to learn that one. So
It
how?
is. I
Yeah,
mean, no, the work never ends.
yeah.
Like, yes, it is a lifetime commitment. No, it may not take a lifetime to know if that's the right person, but
Yeah.
because, you know what, if God revealed to you everything that you're going to go through, you probably would never get you know. I just was reading a relationship book this morning, and it said that, yes, what was it, said that love is blind, but marriage opens your, it was like, basically, marriage is like a magnifier to open your eyes to see yourself, because
Yeah,
it is, you see, you don't see yourself the way, because that person is like a mirror
yeah.
to you, and they're going to show you all the things that, you know, you don't want to see about yourself. So you definitely, you know, want to know, yeah, it's, don't think that, yeah, once you get married, it's just all the, you don't have to keep working at it. You're going to have to continue to work at it
Mm-hmm.
for a lifetime, really. Um but it can be good work and hard work, and uh you know, you improve as a person, your relationships improve as
Mm-hmm.
well, and it's definitely worth doing.
Wow. So continue in the same line of communication. They say tell the truth in love.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you know that truth you're going to say is ugly. So will you will you lie if you think the truth going to hurt?
You can still speak the truth in love. That's what we're called to do.
Yeah.
But like you said, the truth may be ugly. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can't give it a makeover a little bit. Like, you don't have to,
Go to
you
Hollywood
don't
and
have
make
to
it
give
happen.
it and deliver it. You don't
Yeah.
have to deliver it in an ugly way.
Yeah.
You know, like, it should come from a place of love.
Mm-hmm.
And they see your heart. They see that, you know, you're not doing this, you know, for just your own, you know, means, but really because you love them.
Mm-hmm.
Then that's, you know, first of all, and then how you say it, you
Yeah.
know, should be basically to build a relationship and to build, well, whatever type of relationship it is, And so, it's from one thing I think people come into and they talk about, oh, well, you did this and you did that. Like, obviously, people are going to feel offended by that. But when you start off with like, okay, we need to talk about this, this is how I feel about the situation, not in such an accusatory, you can present the truth, but you don't have to like beat someone down with the truth. I don't think that. It should be in love. So.
Yeah. So okay, look, let me ask, because people get confused when it said don't beat somebody of the truth. Can you give some examples, that point to the person beating the other person of the truth?
So, we're told to keep no record of wrongs.
Yeah.
And to always, focus on what is good and lovely and a good report. So yes, your friend, your partner, may have had indiscretions in the past, and that's true.
Yeah.
That's a truth, and that's a reality. Does that mean you need to bring that up every argument that you have, every situation? Well, you did this and this and that, like every time. Like, yes, it is true that yes, that did happen, but try to also speak the truth of what is good about that person, and what you aspire to see in that person, and what they have the potential to be, because that's also true, and so you can choose the truth that you want to highlight, and you don't have to, be accusatory, because that's what I said, that's the enemy. The enemy is the accuser of the brother. You don't want to be accusers, always pointing out what someone's doing wrong, what they did wrong, what, that's not really helping build the relationship and move forward to, progress. So.
But if you want to talk with somebody about something that is bothering you, how many issues can you bring up at once?
One.
Because you have so many
issue. Keep the main thing. Don't throw the whole kitchen sink into that one conversation. Focus on the one issue that you want to resolve, how you can resolve that one issue. And then another time you can talk about another issue. But try just to stay focused on one thing. And, because some people, that'll just be too overwhelming. And then they feel like you just, dumping all the stuff on them. But try to stay focused on one issue at a time. And then when you address and resolve that issue and work through, ways of how you can continue to work on that one issue, then you can go on to, another issue. Don't try to do it, all at one time. And this is even with and we have to say, even as parents, as children, we want to, like, even on our children, we got to help them focus on one thing at a time. Okay. Clean your room. Just put on clean your room. Like, we tell them, okay, you need to clean your room. You need to do this. You need to do that. They're like, they get overwhelmed. So let me just focus on. Let me just tell you, this is the one thing you need to do right now. This is what you need to do. This is where the clothes need to be. This is where your toys need to be. Let's just focus on this one issue and doing that well, and then we can go, focus on some other things.
Wow, that's great. Oh, let me throw this in, because I think this is good. This is good. Now, during this pandemic, many people feel that they need somebody in their life. People be doing things, just dating, and they don't really think about a major, aspect of relationship, which is marriage. But during this pandemic, that people are locked into their place, people start feeling loneliness, and they probably want to ask the spouses, but they know that the other person not really want to settle down, but the other person want to settle down, but they don't know how to say it because they are afraid of losing the relationship. So how will you encourage the person who really want to discuss the desire of settling down? How will you encourage them to go about that?
Well, for one, I think that, I think for some people, they need to be honest with their intentions for why they're dating in the first place, and if you're already marriage minded, you know, that needs to be stated up front. And as soon as, you know, like, not like, okay, you had your first date, you want to get married. No, that's a little bit much. But that they know how you feel about marriage, that it's an important value, that it's something, it's a goal that you seek to strive to, so that if they don't share that goal, you shouldn't be dating them in the first place. But you know, if you're already in the relationship and they see it as a goal, but it may not be, I don't know, an immediate goal, I mean, I think you need to definitely share that with them, and share them that this is, you know, this is my goal, this is what, you know, I'm called to. And if they don't share that goal, then, you know, you're gonna have to, you know what, there are many fish in the sea. You know, you have to move on. And if it's, I mean, but I believe that if it's meant to be, you know, and a lot of times, well, it could be the women, you will receive what you allow, you know. And so if you allow them to, you know, you want to be married, and you're in a relationship 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years, and you never, you know, you never have, you know, the conversation. But if maybe at year 4 or 5, you said, okay, you know what, then I need to move on to other, you know, to go other places, it may obviously provoke them to say, hey, I lost a good thing, you know, I need to get it together. Or, you know, they go on with their life, and you find someone that is, you know, ready to be where you are. And so it's definitely something that you should talk about, and discuss your overall goals, you know, in the beginning, so that they are clear on where you stand, you know, as far as relationships and marriage.
So you're talking about, you know, finding your voice. You have to do a lot also about your expectation, because sometimes we're not even aware of our own expectation. You know,
this is true.
It's only when something happens that we realize, oh, yes, this is supposed to happen. And you know, when you went, you know, when you have time that you cannot go out to cafes and drink and just talk all day, then you realize we're supposed to be living together to begin with, because you were not thinking about this. We are not even, our expectation are unattainable, actually unreasonable. You know, the thing we are expecting from the other person, like somebody say, I want to get married, I want to book the whole Centennial Olympic Park to get married. That my dad needs to be ready. I say, you probably not going to get married. If your dad gonna go and book the whole Centennial Olympic Park for you to get married, I don't think you're going to get married. You know, because it's unreasonable what people are expecting from the other person. And one also expectation that's unspoken. You know, we never talk about it. You know, I know I have it, but I never say anything about it, so the other person does not know. And sometimes some people think the other person can read my intention, and you know, and that's why some people react sometimes, because they think you can read their intention, and then you are not doing what they're expecting. Like your mother left in the morning, and her intention that you need to clean the room, you need to do the dishes, you need to do this before she come back, and she didn't tell you anything. She didn't, and then she come back, she want to beat you up for not doing it.
That is so true. That is so true. In marriage too, if you have expectations, you know, it could be based off of what you experience in your family, or, you know, or another relationship. You have an expectation that, you know, the husband or the wife or whatever should do this and this and this, and they come from a different family, different experiences, and they might have a different perception of what, but, and you never communicate that to one another, then it's, you know, there's definitely going to be conflict. And, you know, one unrealistic expectation is to expect someone else to be the source of your happiness. And that,
say that again.
one unrealistic expectation is to expect another person or human being to be the source of your happiness. Only God can fulfill you. Like, you cannot
Yeah.
expect someone to be the end all. For one, you should already come into the relationship. You're
Yeah.
the only one that, can affect your own happiness and joy, and
Yeah.
you have control over that. You
Mm-hmm.
can't give that to anybody else. And
Mm-hmm.
yes, there's no person that is able to fulfill that void. And so,
Yeah.
you know, when you all of a sudden they're not making you happy, and
Mm-hmm.
then you think, that is, yes, as in a relationship, you should do things to please one another. That's not what I'm saying, but that they shouldn't be the source,
Mm-hmm.
of your happiness. You got to have that, and have that within, to be able to pour out to them, and as they
Mm-hmm.
pour out to you, and then both of you are fed. But they can't be the source, of all your joy and happiness. Because, and even if they are, and even if they're a great person, and my mom was widowed early in life, if my dad was her source and she didn't have faith in God, and
Mm-hmm.
purpose, then she would have just fell apart. And so, like, you can't you can't make one person the source of your everything. But that's an unrealistic expectation that I
Wow.
often have to address and
So,
talk
so
about.
some people dating right now have to reevaluate, because people say, well, I need to find somebody that will make me happy, will make me laugh. People say that all the time. I want to find somebody that can make me laugh, make me happy. But you said that another person cannot be the source of your happiness. Only God can be, because
Yes, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with
yeah,
enjoying and laughing. You should seek to laugh on your own, like
yeah,
whether that person is there or not. You should enjoy life and laugh,
yeah.
and as you do that, then guess what? They're gonna be laughing with you. Like, I think
That's
what you
right.
bring to it is what you
Mhm.
receive. Like, people have all these expectations of the other person,
Yeah,
but they also need to have those same expectations of themselves. They
that's
want the
right.
person to do this and have this income and have this education, but what are you doing to enhance yourself?
Mm, yeah.
You're going to want them to be at this level, but you're at this level. And so
Ah.
you need to, it doesn't mean that the other can't bring, the other up. And
Hmm.
I know that I've definitely, grown in marriage, and we've both grown. But
Hmm.
at the same time, I was already doing things. I had a book. My husband had a book. When we
Hmm.
got married, we were already doing things,
Hmm.
in community and ministry, and we could just flow
Yeah,
together. It wasn't
yeah.
like, we had,
Mm.
he had an expectation. We had totally different, that's division. You need to
Yeah.
have a common vision
Hmm.
and purpose and goal
Hmm.
independently of yourself. And then when you come together, you can,
Hmm.
flow and move in
Yeah. So 1 + 1 = 1.
that.
Yeah, we come and merge. Okay, that's amazing thing, because even in the ministry, sometime, well, Tilly Jake used to say this thing. People will come to church, calling, rev, pastor, everything. Everybody's so happy until they get back to the car, and then the fight start. You know, but when they when they come, and like you say now, expectation can play on that, and also, probably we want to get in our way. You got to be my way or the high. My way or no way, or my way is the highway, and so people don't really talk about it. When people don't talk about it, stop everything inside. One day is you start going to you start working out, because I used to talk about something called emotional jogging. A jog
Mm,
people, and then you just store everything. And I always use this, even I use in the church setting. I say, when you are born so pure. You laugh at jokes that are not even funny. You love people when they come by. You love them. You laugh to them. You know. But when you start growing up, you start losing, that joy, that happiness, that peace, that easiness. You start losing it, because
mm,
when you want to play, you go to the playground, you want to play with your friend, and they reject you. Guess what? You start
mm,
realizing, oh, and then you go to the middle school, dating. People are
mm,
dating. You love somebody you want to date, but or you loving somebody, don't even pay attention to you.
mm,
And then you go to high school, where things intensify, and then go to university, start dating somebody, and probably give everything to the person, and then the person move away,
Yeah.
start losing all that. You start becoming defensive. You start becoming fearful, uncertain, insecure. So by the time actually you're ready to settle, most of the time, 50% of your naivety is gone.
It
And
is very true.
yeah, and you build a certain expectation, or actually you don't even know you expect anything until you are in a situation you don't have what you thought you were supposed to have. Then the problem is there. Now, what causes people? Okay, what can help people to overcome the fear of saying, telling the truth, or expressing how they feel, or talk about what they need to talk about, and what will help them to overcome this fear?
I think that, you gave a great analogy earlier, talking about children and how, they just, they laugh and everything, they are pure and they have been heard and they haven't been rejected yet. And then people go through life and as adults and they can become bitter or fearful or, and so, I mean, and you see that even in relationships, like, and you have to, first of all, deal with the past. Like you have to do that self-work and understand, okay, where the source of this fear or this, came from. And it could become, okay, this person rejected you or that, but you can't bring that happened then, but you have to begin to change your mindset first and begin to see the positive and what could happen. Because like even you say that about children, but in the beginning of a relationship and you laugh at all the jokes, it's so funny, like everything they do is so cute, it's so funny, and so everything is lovely, and then you get to know them and they're not perfect, and then you're just like whatever. And you start to become negative, but go back to that positive mindset first of all, but really in overcoming any fear. And I do a lot of this, and I talk a lot about as far as preparing yourself with regarding relational communication and doing the self-work. My second book, The One, I talk about that, really just getting yourself spiritually, emotionally ready for marriage and dealing with your own issues and getting that settled with God and building yourself up so that when you go in the relationship, you'll have a better mindset. I deal with, overcoming fear in just general communication. People are afraid to speak because of past experiences, because they may have messed up before, because of, things that happen. Now they're afraid to do it. But both in any situation where you're feeling fearful, you have to change your mindset and stop repeating that negative self-talk of, oh, this is just how it's going to be. I just, I can't talk for other people, or I'm just not, I can't do, I don't talk well in relationships. Like this is just always, and have this negative self-talk that you continually are telling, but change your mindset, change how you speak about it, how you see yourself doing it, see yourself, in a more positive light and envisioning why you're doing it. And then know why you're doing it. You're doing it so that not only is it for you, but it also will be a benefit and help to other people as well. When you think about the reasons and the motivation, then that should help move you past the fear.
Yes.
But first you have to change your mindset and change those negative emotions and feelings, self-talk regarding that, and then focus on your purpose and your why and why you need to move past that fear.
Wow, why you need to move past that fear. So do some of this fear do some of this fear require professional help?
Yes, it does. Sometimes you don't see, sometimes people really don't see the negative talk that they're giving to themselves. They just it's so much a part of their mental processing, they don't really see that that's what they're doing. And sometimes you need someone on the outside to show you, like, this is what you're saying to yourself. You wouldn't say that to another person, but this is what you're saying to yourself on a daily basis. And
Wow.
so, you know, sometimes you need someone else to be able to show you yourself and show you, you know, the areas where you need to improve
Yeah.
and how you need to, you know, how and what are some tools. And maybe it's just you just don't know
Mm.
how to be better. And you just, you know, can learn some strategies and tools to be able to communicate or more effectively or move past that fear
Mm.
and deal with those issues of the
Yeah.
past,
Mm.
spiritually, emotionally, psychologically. Uh, yes, you definitely sometimes could need professionals to help you in that regard. And that's okay because we
Yeah.
all do. I mean,
Yeah.
when you get sick, you go to a doctor. You don't
That's
know
right.
all of medicine. You don't know, like, you know, you can't just fix yourself with every single thing or, you know,
Mhm.
or other people. So
Mm.
yeah, you definitely need to seek help and
Mhm.
also, you know, seek to read and learn more,
Mhm.
but definitely receive the help that you need to move forward.
Wow. And Apostle Paul said to the Philippians 4 8, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. And
Hmm.
uh, and this is very, you know, because he even said in Romans 12 that we need to renew our mind.
Yes.
Because, like you say, if I have a bitterness against the person, it's going to be hard for me to express. Even the way I tell the truth is going to affect that. But if I love the person, the way I tell the truth is going to affect that. Because God tells us the truth all the time, but His truth is being conditioned by His love. So when He
Hmm.
talks to us, you know, even when He's telling He's going to beat us, He's going to hurt us, He's still saying, I want you to change. If you change, this is going to be all right. You know, this is not what I want for you, because the way you're going, you're going to hurt yourself. If you
Hmm.
continue,
Hmm.
this is not going to happen. But you know, God always talk in love, and Paul said, you know, we need to condition our mind to think about things that is truth, noble, right, pure, lovely,
Lovely.
admirable,
Hmm.
excellent, you know, praiseworthy,
Yes. That's just
you
what we were
know.
talking about earlier when talking to other
Yeah,
people. Yes, it might be true that they did some unpraiseworthy things, but
yeah,
don't focus on that. Focus
yeah,
on what is good, what can, and you know what
mhm,
you will see that as
yeah,
you what you focus on grows. And if you
yeah,
always focus on the negative, that's going to grow. But if you focus on those things that are good, then that's what you're going to begin to see. That's what you're going to
that's right.
begin to experience more of.
Mm,
So,
mm.
yeah, so that's awesome.
Well, I think this is great. So I think I'm going to book you. I don't know the date yet. We're going to talk about how to find your mate, because this is very important.
Uh,
Sometimes we are so concentrate on many people spiritual that we forgot that they're still living on this earth. You know,
mhm.
people don't know how to find their mate. Right now, there's so much confusion. People, you know, people are just going ways, and by the time they realize, they even heaven door actually start closing because of the way they choose to go. So as a Christian, well, this can be principle can be good for everybody, not just a Christian. How to find your mate, how to make sure that nobody's perfect. We got to know that. We got to go from
No.
that viewpoint. Nobody's perfect, but everybody can be excellent. Everybody can be
Mhm.
excellent. And how to find your mate, how to make sure that the person you are deciding to go with, making commitment with, is the right person for you. Young people always
Yeah.
ask me, how do you know you're going to stay with that person? That's too boring. You got to stay with the same person for all your life. That's too boring. And I always say, if you find your
Don't choose a
friend,
boring person.
so I
You
believe we're going
know,
to,
and don't
yeah,
be
we're going to
boring
do that
yourself.
conversation. Yeah, and that conversation, because I think you can help somebody, you know, because right now we got a lot of single people out
Mm.
there, and some people finally they give up. They say, you know what? I just want to get married. That's it. You know, I don't care. I don't even need to get married. I just need to
Because
have somebody, you
no,
know, in
yeah.
my life.
Mm.
That's it.
And
But
then if
mhm,
that's just the goal, then just to get married, and then you don't find, yeah, someone you're
yeah,
really. called to be with, it's going to bring in a whole nother. Then you're going to be like, I wish I was single. So you definitely, I wrote a whole book just on that, the one, A Woman's Search for Eternal Love. Yeah, it's, you know, you really need to start with yourself and really growing personally, spiritually, understand who you're called to do and what you're called to do. And as you start moving in that, then you're going to be going closer to, you know, the person that's moving in that same area as well. And you're going to, you know, link up. But if you don't even know who you are, what you're called to do, then it could be detrimental for you to be in a relationship. And so definitely you have to do the self-work and from there. So we're gonna definitely, maybe, you know, we can talk again. That wasn't necessarily the purpose of this meeting, but it went there, and I definitely am available and open if you want to talk about that some more on another.
Okay, we have a before we end, we have a question on Facebook Live. At what level do you think it's appropriate to bring in the third person to resolve an issue in a relationship?
Oh, it should be from the very beginning, because really before you even get married, there should be premarital counseling, and then after you get married, there should be counseling, and then you know, even many years later. So it is never too soon. I think that should be just a fabric, a part of the relationship early on. And even if it's not a professional, maybe you have a couple that not as fighting all the time, but a couple that you know that's been married a while, that you can have dinner with, that can mentor you, that can walk you through some things and help you to see some things early on. I think the earlier you do that, the better. And, you know, maybe, you know, not everyone necessarily was raised in a good marriage or saw that model. And so the earlier you can begin to make those connections and have, you know, that accountability and speak with other people who may. So yes, so yeah, definitely. I think the sooner the better.
Yeah, because like my wife always tell me, I'm gonna call Apostle Thompson on you, you know, because I'm an African, so I always have elders in my life, and because that's the one thing that people regret, you know, kind of miss when they move to the Western civilization. There's nobody else; it's just both of them, so they don't have anybody to talk to. But like from our traditional background, you always have, you know, elders in your life that if your wife cannot talk to you, they can talk to those people. If you cannot talk to your wife, you can talk to these people because they respect those people. So, you know, third person must be the person that you both respect. You know, you got to respect that person. That you know that is not just a gossip or trying to throw you under the bus. It was, you know, that person have your best interest in, you can't just go to be talking to anybody about your relationship issue. You got to talk to somebody that you respect, you know, a person that you both respect, the person that you both don't mind knowing your business. And every couple need to have those in their life. You know, my wife said, I'm gonna talk to Apostle Thompson about you, you know, she always said that. Yeah, she always said that, because but that's help, you know, because it's and also the person said, awesome, Dr. Tonia. The person,
thank you. I appreciate your feedback. I'm like, nice. Able to see the comments right now, but thank you. And definitely let me know if you have additional comments. You know, you can message me on Dr. Tonia, or on Facebook, on Instagram, and Dr. Tonia Phanor at gmail.com, and or drtoniaphanor.com. Definitely reach out to me, and I'd love to talk with you more.
Wonderful, wonderful. So I think we're going to close, but we're definitely going to be back again, you know, dealing with this communication and relational issues, because we are relational beings, and it's very important to always fine-tuning our relationship in order to live happily ever after. All right. So any last comments, and then just pray for our listeners, viewers this morning.
Okay, you want me to pray?
Yeah, if you have any
Okay,
last minute
awesome.
moment, or you can just pray. Yeah.
So yes, I
Mm,
just want to just empower them to know that you have a voice and a purpose,
mhm.
and there are
Yeah.
things that you're called to do that are specifically you were born and built and designed to do that. There are people that are waiting on you to walk in your purpose. And so don't be afraid, whether it's in business and relationships and in various areas,
Mhm.
that that is where you will find your power and be able to influence and affect other people's lives. So
Mhm.
my prayer would just be, Lord, I just thank you for this opportunity. I
Mm,
thank you for everyone that watches this, Lord, that
mhm.
they know that we are called to communicate with one another, to share experiences, and to be able to work together. And you said how beautiful it is for the brothers to dwell together in unity. And we need to have effective communication to be able to do that. And so
Mm,
I pray that their marriages, their businesses, their relationships begin to operate, within that perspective of
mm,
unity and having effective communication to do that, and that
mm.
they don't operate in fear or of
Yes.
bitterness of past experiences and allow that
Mm,
to hold them back from what they're
mm,
called to do in this season. So
mm,
give them the strength, the courage, the faith to do
mm.
all it is that you've called them to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
Hallelujah. Amen. Once again, can you give your contact information in case somebody want to contact you for additional questions?
Yes, you can go is Dr. Tonia with an I, Phanor, Phanor, on everything on Facebook, on Instagram, and my website is drtoniaphanor.com. So definitely let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And thank you for sharing this and for joining us. And I look forward to being on again.
Wonderful. May God bless you. God bless your day. God shine upon you today. And as you walk and know that God has a purpose for your life. His plan for you is hope and future. And we look forward to talk to you again. God bless you. Thank you, Dr. Tonia, for accepting our invitation. Talk to you later.
Thank you for the invitation.
Bye.
Bye-bye.